You are what you eat. You are the TV programs you watch. You are the music you listen to. Heck, what's the saying? You are the 5% of the people you hang around with. If you're gonna scale yourself up the social ladder, you have to shed yourself of dead weight, loserhood mentality, and above all else, you have to minus 90% of all people around you. Why? Because, to be honest, a lot of them are a bunch of scallywags and losers. You're watching the Showcast. Welcome back to the MrShowTym Showcast. In today's Bluechip Mindset, we're going to be discussing eugenics. I'm going to be discussing how you can use eugenics to your advantage. You know, really in future, I could have said genetic memory. I'll discuss that shortly in a jiffy. There is such a thing as genetic memory. And folks, you watching this, being part of the common folk, right? You being part of the common folk, before you get to the top, before you get to grease the tires and rub shoulders amongst the elite, you have to shed yourself of dead weight. And sometimes, yes, oftentimes, according to what I hear from certain people that I listen to, the certain people that I look up to, they themselves have admitted that, you know, they have certain family members that are a drag, friends, former associates, and yeah. Folks, Mr. NPC, you watching me right now, the first step to greasing the tires and climbing up the social ladder to rub shoulders amongst the elite, you first have to foremost identify that you are in a cesspool surrounded by scallywags and losers, of which you have to shed yourself from. Cut away 90% of people. You see, now I'm gonna go into the specifics. You see, I've witnessed people very close to me, I might add, who were raised in a healthy middle-class household background, in a healthy culture, in a healthy neighborhood. But because we're surrounded by, you see, this now ties back to my previous Bluechip Mindset of being exclusive. This is the importance of being exclusive. Okay, I'll try to link the two. I stressed how you need to, if you are living in a gated community, okay, look at the elites. They don't socialize and mingle amongst the common folk, okay? Because amongst the common folk, there's various types of personality types, okay? Character types. Both healthy and unhealthy, both productive and counterproductive. Homeschool your kids, okay? Because if you homeschool your kids, you're shielding them from, other kids who come from broken homes, and that those kids may, smear and influence your child with their broken home, scallywag, backwards mindset. Okay? Men, I'm talking to you now. It is very important. I mean, sure, Men have no problem dating down. Okay? Men tend to date down, a class below. But I'm going to tell you right now, do you think celebrities date normal fans? Do you think celebrities date people who, like, they date their fans? No. There's a reason for that. Do you think Jamie Foxx? I mean, sure, they in the past they might have, in concerts, Lil Wayne or Kendrick Lamar or Chris Brown might hand pick a female fan to spend a couple of hours, in private, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. But I'm talking about dating, marrying, and having kids with. Okay? Celebrities date other celebrities. And there's a reason for that. Now you, Mr. NPC, you bot, eliminate 90% of women from your life. Eliminate 90%. 90% of women should be disqualified in your eyes. Shout out to CGA. Eliminate 90% of women. You see, I've had a taste of this. A measly taste. Try not to come across as if I'm all over the place. I've had a measly taste of success. And due to my success, I'm not going to go into detail now. It's not something major, trust me. It's something intermediate level success. And I've had my 15 minutes of fame. And while I had my 15 minutes of fame, at that let's say for a period of about like a month, I had my pick of the litter. Concubines, so to speak. No, listen, I didn't do anything. Nothing. I didn't actually make something of it, no. Because I didn't have game. I didn't actually make a move. I didn't actually, try anything, no. But at that period for about a month, I had female attention like crazy. Okay? I had female attention like crazy. I had women that I never even thought knew I existed. All of a sudden now they know my name. They're greeting me in passing. Women that are mutual friends of these particular females. Now they know who I am. They're like, oh, hey, so and so. I've heard so much about you, and I'm like, excuse me. Hi. Do we know each other? And she's like, oh no, I just happened to, I've heard this about you, and you were very, successful at that particular endeavor, and so and so told me about you, and I was impressed. I'm like, wow. So I had gained notoriety unbeknownst to me. My reputation superseded me at that point. So trust and believe, you're talking to a person, I know what I'm talking about, okay? I've experienced a measly taste of this, which is why I'm able to disseminate this advice, this information, okay? I've had a taste. And at that particular moment, I had so much female attention to the point where I wasn't thirsty, to the point where I felt selective about my picks. Think of it like this. Part of the reason why women are very selective and very picky when it comes to, the dating apps, such as Tinder or Bumble, or let's use the number one and most popular dating app of them all, Instagram. It used to be Snapchat, but let's just say Instagram. Now it's Instagram. It is Instagram. Part of the reason why women are very picky and they have 100 plus, 99 plus unread messages and DMs from guys is because they're spoiled for choice. Women are spoiled for choice. Even the average female is spoiled for choice. And when you're spoiled for choice, you have the bargaining power. You start to be picky. It's like a total shift in energy. It's a total shift in energy. As opposed to if you're thirsty and you're going through a dry spell, so to speak, you're just glad to have any ounce of attention. So now you need to have an abundance mindset. Shout out to AMS, Alpha Male Strategies. You need to have an abundance mindset, even although currently you don't have an abundance of options. You need to live and mentally program yourself as if you have an abundance of options. Trust me, the results, they come. There's something, the universe has a mind, okay? The universe, it shifts energy where it brings people to you of whom you deserve. Well, maybe not who you deserve, but it gives you the type of energy that you put out. Like a magnet. So many of you men, we have lesser standards when it comes to dating, when it comes to mate selection. Why? Because most men are deprived of sex. I understand why. It's the reality. Especially if you're young. Because if you're young, you are of less consequence to the world. Let's say, specifically, if you are below age 30, you are of far less consequence to the world. And this ties into the minimum requirements to be able to run for presidency. The minimum age you have to be eligible to run for office, presidential office, is age 35. Why? Because there's an innate understanding that when you're young, you have less experience. You are still wet behind the ears. You're not. You're still. You're still ripe. Okay, you're like a fruit that's still ripe. Okay, you're still undercooked. So this is why they say women are, men must become. Men must become, and women are just are. They're born with innate value. What is their value? What value are women born with? Youth and fertility. Which is why there's an analogy. Women are like fresh milk. Milk at first is fresh. After some time, after it ages, it becomes sour and it spoils. It becomes sour, it becomes salty milk. When women get to a certain age, their value declines significantly. Their youth, beauty, and fertility, and their femininity. Men, our value is purely based on our productivity, what we offer to the world, our knowledge, our skill set, our tenacity, our ability to provide, serve, and protect, our accolades. And when you're young, when you're still a child, you have zero accolades. You're like an RPG character, starting from stage 1 with zero points. You see, like Mario, you still need to collect those coins, and the further you go, further onto the game, the more points you collect. Like Sonic, the more you have to collect those rings. Collect as many rings as possible. And when you have many rings, enough rings, you collect 100 rings, you get a lifeline, a 1-up lifeline. So as men, since we're young, I'm no longer young. I'm 30 years old and I'm turning 31 on Christmas. Okay. So part of the reason why I'm able to decipher this information is because I've been around. So pay attention. Pay attention. Since most men are young, there's nothing wrong with settling down early. No problem. I'm just telling you how to maximize this knowledge, this red pill knowledge, okay? We have less standards. And since we have less standards, we don't mind dating down. And since we don't mind dating down because we're deprived of sex, we're just lucky and happy and grateful to just have someone to have regular sex with. Even though when a woman at first, yeah, she's gonna put out because she's trying to impress you, she's trying to hook you. After, post-marriage, your type of relationship post-marriage, after you've married, let's say like a few years later, especially if she's popped out a couple of your babies, she no longer has an incentive to put out, and that's how the rude, bitchy behavior comes about. And oftentimes, men, since we have less standards when mate selecting, you end up picking someone who is a scallywag. You end up aiming low. You end up picking low-hanging fruit. The problem with low-hanging fruit is the low-hanging fruit is gonna drag you down to hell. Shout out to the movie, that horror movie, Drag Me to Hell. Yeah, that's what happens. Try not to pick someone who's experienced trauma in life. Now, this is where the video starts. Be going on a tangent because I'm trying to paint a picture for you first. It's very important for me to paint the picture because you need to understand this from a certain mindset, from a certain perspective. Okay? So I'm not just gonna come in here and say, do this or that. Advice. No. See, this knowledge is deep. It cuts deep. So I need to first paint the picture first. Now we begin. Try not to pick someone, when it comes to mate selection, try not to pick someone who comes from a poor background, whether it be economically poor. As a matter of fact, this is the most important aspect of them all. Someone who comes from an economically poor background will have a trickling effect to these other factors such as behavior, culture, beliefs, the type of food they eat, their friends, their social circles. Okay? Why? Because birds of a feather flock together. So forth and so forth. Other things, the type of music they listen to, what they eat, okay? Their day-to-day activities, that's all gonna influence greatly how they conduct their relationship with you. How are they gonna influence your offspring should you decide to have children with such a spouse, fiance? Be very exclusive. This is why I quote Greg Adams says, eliminate 90% of people. Now, look at Donald Trump. Look at celebrities in general. Now, this is not 100% accurate because celebrities, yeah, some of them, they come from broken homes. They kiss the nanny goat for fame and fortune and success to be, part of the industry, Hollywood. Fine. Even Michael Jackson didn't have the most smoothest childhoods. As a matter of fact, Michael Jackson, ever since his childhood, he has experienced trauma. Trauma in the sense that, like, his childhood was stunted. Michael Jackson, he never had the opportunity to have a childhood. Because ever since he was young, as early as, forgive me if I'm not quite accurate, but let's just say from as early as age 5 or 7 or age 10, he immediately was drafted by his parents into the music industry. So he was performing, he was experiencing pressure from his father, punishment, abuse, in the form of like, hey, perform, or you didn't sing that note properly, sing it again. Okay, now raise your voice dilation to this parsecs, this level parsecs. Okay, now do it again. You, Tito, Jerome, in the corner. You didn't sing properly. Play the tune again. If they're practicing on the on a violin or piano or something. Children are not supposed to experience that type of trauma at a young age because they're very emotionally vulnerable. They're very impressionable. So it kind of has like an effect somehow mentally. So Michael Jackson is a perfect example. He didn't have a chance to have a childhood first, to be a child, okay? To be gleeful and happy and free, like a young adolescent child should. Hence why, when Michael Jackson grew up, he became of age, he became an adult. He was experiencing issues maintaining or even getting into a relationship in general. Why? Because according to the woman that he tried dating, such as Elvis Presley's daughter, I forgot her name, a lot of women didn't take him seriously. Why? Because they said he was childish. Michael Jackson was childish. Michael Jackson had a very playful personality, like a child. And that rubbed women the wrong way. It's like, yeah, he's kind of childish, It's like not really acting like an adult, cracking jokes, being a little too playful. So that kind of like that arrested development. Yeah, exactly. Perfect example. Arrested development. Michael Jackson suffered from arrested development. Even though he was an adult, he was a 40-year-old man. He was very good at his craft. Moonwalking, his dances, his dances. He had amazing moves. His craft he was a phenom. He was phenomenal. He was a global sensation. All we knew of Michael Jackson was, on the big television screen, him performing, a musician, a pop king of pop. But with regards to his personal life, some say he was, weird. He created, Neverland. And he loved playing with children because he never had the chance to be a child. He never had a chance to be a young 7-year-old adolescent boy. Even in his adult life. And I've watched the documentaries, the Michael Jackson documentaries, and there's parts of it that are fascinating with regards to him, how he became famous, and a part of it is it's sad with regards to his personal life. You see, if I were to ever become rich, successful, ever to gain clout or whatever, the first thing I'll always be grateful to God for is my childhood. I had the perfect childhood growing up. I was raised in pitch perfect conditions. I had an opportunity to experience like an amazing childhood, which is why I turned out okay. Now you look at other celebrities like your Harvey Weinsteins or you other famous people. Something happened in their childhood, whether it was bullying in school, or they're raised by a single parent, by a single parent, or they experienced some form of trauma in their childhood, and now they're messed up. They just like their brain receptors of dopamine or their psyche is fried. All these people are messed up. Look at James Franco. A lot of these people, man, like on the big screen, you see them smiling, taking photos out on the red carpets, but from what you hear from the people who deal with them behind the scenes, they are controlling, they are abusive, they are narcissistic. You see, that's another thing, that's another common trait that you'll experience in Hollywood. Narcissism. Look at Elon Musk. Such a small, fragile ego. Because why? Those people are accustomed to the world kissing their asses. And a little bit of adversity, it sets them off. Look at Elliot Rogers, that kid who once committed like a mass shooting. Why? Because he was being rejected by girls left, right, and center. Fragile egos. Your childhood, whatever happens in your childhood will pretty much follow you to your adult life. Pretty much the rest of your life. Look at Elliot Rogers. He was trying to, date girls. I mean, I'm pretty sure he had good intentions, but his self-esteem got so wrecked because he based his whole self-esteem on getting girls, the prettiest of girls. It's so sad when young people, they think that their life in school, primary school or high school, is the end all be all. That's what defines them. And they end up committing self-deletion or deleting other people. Which is why you want your child to grow up in a healthy environment, to offer your child the best childhood as possible. Now, it's hard to have a good childhood. As a matter of fact, I've had some friends in the past, not all of them, but some. It's not just friends, but it's just people, I've known either in school, former classmates, former friends, former associates, etc., etc. In high school, whatever. Some of their character flaws, it just oozes out of them. Some of them, it's just visible. Now, granted, all of us have character flaws in some shape or form. Sure. But for some people, it just oozes out of them. It's visible. Like I said, this is why it's important to offer your child the best and most comfortable childhood possible. Now, it really comes as a blessing. I think my childhood was a blessing. It can't be manually replicated because you never know. Children are different. The neighborhood, the environment, you can't really control what happens to your kid, either at home or in school, and it can even be anything. Okay? So you can't offer your child the best childhood if you're going to pick a spouse who comes from a broken home. Why? Because people are creatures of habit. You pick someone, whether you're a man or a woman, you pick a husband or wife, you pick a spouse, a fiance that comes from a broken background, a broken home, due to their economic status, their cultural norms, their values or beliefs. You come from someone who comes from a broken background, a broken home. They are gonna they're gonna repeat and teach and they're gonna teach that to your offspring. They're gonna spill that to your offspring, to your kids. And guess what? Those kids are gonna trickle it down to their kids, and those kids to their kids, and those kids to their kids. I don't drink. I don't smoke. People who smoke are damaged. You want to stay away from any spouse, partner that smokes. If you're gonna pick a girl, you want a girl who comes from a two-parent household, first and foremost, okay? But that's not the end will be all. As a matter of fact, If you find anyone who comes from a two-parent household whose parents are still married till this day, you've kind of found like a unicorn. Especially my generation going forward, because a lot of women are the rate of single motherhood has gone significantly up, thanks to these agendas, evil agendas such as feminism, and some guys in the manosphere talking about, oh, you avoid family creation and chop your dick off to be to consider a high value man. Yeah, someone posted that on Twitter once. The founders of the manosphere, yeah, they posted that on Twitter, and they got backlash, and rightfully so. And even I told them, like, yo, listen, I rebuke that. Okay? So, I mean, isn't it funny? Even this guy, How to Beast, he recently got married, and he's telling other men not to get married. What? Like, WTF? What the hell? If he's busy telling other men to get married, then why did you get married? Seems to me like marriage is worth it. Don't you find it funny how people who smoke and are raging alcoholics, they typically don't tell other people to stop drinking and don't smoke. No, they wanna bring people in. They're like, here, man, just try this out. Just what? No, but How to Beast. I forgot his name. What's his real name? Juan. You know the guy, How to Beast. He got married. He's telling other men not to get married. You got married, okay? So don't try to like shut the door on your followers. No, open the door and let them experience what you did. It seems fun. Must be nice. Now I'm not saying marriage is perfect. No, but you got married. It's something good. Marriage is beautiful. Now look. It's not perfect. Things happen, but that's like the happiest place because you're creating a family. So you wanna pick someone who comes from a two-parent household. You wanna pick someone who comes from a family that practices healthy behaviors. Okay, they don't smoke. The father doesn't smoke. And above all else, the mother doesn't smoke. Because look, if anyone in your family smokes, it's gonna influence you. You know, the kids, the grandkids to do the same thing. Okay, and oftentimes they're gonna smoke for the wrong reasons. Because people who smoke, they're actually coping with their emotional issues, with their midlife crises. So they smoke because they want to numb themselves to the sensation. Or someone who's like a raging alcoholic. You know, like, I've been to sports bars, okay? And there are people who are regulars and they have little sons. You don't bring your son to the bar because now they're thinking, oh, it's perfectly normal to go to a bar and, down one or two, to be drinking and sniffing. They are, in a sense, damaging their kids, whether they know it or not, directly or indirectly. You being in that circle full of drunken sailors, that child is most likely gonna, be the same way. Because why? Because a child is raised by a village. You are the 5% or 10% of the people you hang around with. And at that age, a child is very impressionable. So pick someone who comes from a healthy overall environment, culture, background. And I'm not sorry to say that constitutes minusing 90% of people. Because the common folk, it's a cesspool of a variety of mixtures of different people, both well-to-do people and both unhealthy people, broken people, damaged people, psychologically damaged people, broken people, hurt people, people who walk around Earth with a hole in their chest. And guess what? Since most people walk the Earth with a huge hole in their chest, they're gonna identify you, and they've done it to me as well. You who don't have a hole in your chest, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, this guy think he better. He think you all that. He doesn't have a hole in his chest. Hey lads, let's do him a favor. Let's help him out and actually puncture a hole in his chest. You're surrounded by a bunch of zombies. If you come from a healthy background, understand, Ninja, you are surrounded by zombies. Flesh-eating zombies. Not literally, but sometimes literally. Okay? You're surrounded by a bunch of scallywags, a bunch of broken people. And guess what? They're gonna look to puncture your chest too, so you can look like them. This is why you need to be exclusive. Try to move into a gated community. Homeschool your kids. Exclude yourself from the 90%. Exclude yourself. Which involves minusing, again, I've said this, cut off and minus 90% of people from your life. That includes family members. Because guess what? They're broken too. Candace Owens, an anomaly type of black female. Even she herself, I mean, this is what I heard coming out of her mouth. Her sister is a Democrat. Surely you think that her sister would be a Republican like she is. Because, this is someone that's close to her and, you're pretty sure, you think that Candace would red pill her sister, her siblings. Be like, yo, listen, this is the truth about the Democrats and President LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson. So, catch on. But oftentimes, it's like people, you know what they do? They resist and they spit the red pill out. They're like, nah! Clinging on to the matrix, the blue pill matrix, the comfortable lie. And they latch onto it. The safe, fluffy, comfortable truth. Like an obese person who just can't resist eating. Okay? You try to tell them to lose weight. Eat healthier. Don't eat so much. Put the French fries down. They're like, no! So good. And these people are mentally enslaved. They're trapped within their own minds. They're trapped within their own vices. Most people are trapped inside their own vices. I wish I could lose weight, but I can't but it's so hard to, break the curse, break the cycle. They don't exercise. This is why they're fat, overweight, or obese. They're trapped inside their own heads. You should look at most people. You look at their heads. This is a prison. And their true selves, their innocent selves, are trapped inside here. I literally mean here. Think of like a person, how they look, and then there's like a mini-me version of them inside their heads, literally, like in a, like, let me out. And then, like, you can't help them. Like a ghost trapped inside what the little genie bottle or a little crystal ball. Unfortunately, folks, most people, you're just gonna have to let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Try as you might. I know there's certain family members you wanna save. Look, dude, or madam, if you're watching me, let them go. You're not saving them. You're not gonna save most people. I'm sorry to tell you. Which is why you need to cut them off, be exclusive, and eliminate 90% of people from your life. Because they're not on the same page as you. They're never going to be on the same page as you. And since they're never going to be on the same page as you, they don't want to be on the same page as you. Okay? And since, again, they don't want to be on the same page as you, they're going to try and puncture a hole inside your chest so that you can be like them. Eliminate 90% of people in your life. They are blue pillars. You are red pilled. You watching me, you came here for a reason. You are red pill, okay? You've met Morpheus, and you took the red pill, which is why you're watching me. You're a red pill. A red pill person cannot afford to be amongst the common folk. They will devour you. And they will punish you because you're trying to reset the matrix that they're comfortable living under. What did Morpheus say? Most people are so dependent on the system that they will fight you to protect it. Eliminate 90% of people from your life. When it comes to dating, most women don't qualify because they will hinder you in your journey to climbing and scaling up the social ladder to be amongst the elites. I know some people personally who come from a poor background, economic background than us. So-and-so has now a child, and so-and-so is bringing their scallywag behavior. Every now and then, I just hear, from the grapevine, I witness them getting into arguments, sometimes even fights. And it's like, at first, I wanted to, ask this particular individual, why would you have children with so-and-so? But then I thought to myself, nah, none of my freaking business. They picked their poison. It's not me. And now they bring their scallywag behaviors in our circle. And now they're dragging us down. And guess what? I feel sorry for the children. Because the children are now, they're going to witness that. Now, their children now they're going to witness that, and they're going to think that's normal. And guess what? They're going to repeat that growing up. They're going to think that's normal. And when they grow up, they're going to probably pick someone who's of a broken background. And it's just like the cockroaches keep multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. Cut them off. It's like a cancer. It's just going to keep spreading. If you have a hand that is suffering from, has an infected womb, and if you don't amputate it, the bacteria, the cancer is going to spread. So you have to amputate your arm as soon as possible because it's going to spread throughout your body. Eugenics. There's something called genetic memory. If your forefathers have experienced any form of significant trauma in their past, you do know that in some shape or form, since there's something called genetic memory, the offspring, the kids, the grandkids, the great-grandkids of those particular people who experienced slavery, oppression, and trauma, when they get to a certain age where they have power, you know what they do? They abuse it. Not only do they abuse other people around them, but they start to abuse those who look like them. Why? Because they've witnessed people who look like them be battered, spat on, and oppressed and abused and enslaved and whipped and been treated like shit. So they witness other people who look like them, and they start to treat those people the same way because they're thinking, since I'm a piece of shit, the person who was treated like a piece of shit looks like me. Oh, okay, so that means a person that looks like me ought to be treated like a piece of shit. I think some people know what I'm talking about. Oh yes. Eliminate and cut off 90% of people in your life. This especially ties into dating. It ties into the type of people you surround yourself with, what you eat, the type of people you work with. Okay, look, I went to the best schools growing up, the best primary school, best high school, and university. And I've met different types of people from different walks of life. It's nice meeting people who come from different walks of life if they're actually like productive and they make your life better. Or you can offer them something, you can at least teach them and offer them something in return, and then you benefit each other. But the reality is that's not the case. People who come from different walks of life, I've experienced no, it's usually people who are they, they, they tend to be people who come from, they're beneath me. They come from poor backgrounds. They come from traumatic households. They come from they've had traumatic experiences, and you work with them and they don't understand much about the world. They come from a small little village and they have a very small view of the world. Now they come out into, in the big city. You talk about this, you talk about that. They're like, no, what is that? They're like, it's like a person who's been living under a rock this whole time. They're not well versed on how the world works. You say certain things, they get offended. And it's like, dude, how the hell is it? And it's like, at some point you're like, okay, you know what? Let me know. Whenever you deal with this person, just say, hi, bye. Okay, cool, nice. You just keep it very simple. And then there's fewer people who you can actually work with and build something with. This is why I stress, most people you need to eliminate. And I'm not talking to most people when I say this. I'm talking to you, Mr. Average Normie, who is somewhere out there trying to find someone or something who can give you this type of advice. Because trust and believe, you're not the only one. Okay? You've made your way to this video for a reason. And I'm trying to let you know that if you think that most of the people you've met who are scallywags, that's the end of be. Oh no. There's greener pastures in life. But for you to make it there, you're gonna have to shed off dead weight. Shed off some dead weight. Looking at the Egyptian Empire, there's a reason why the elites, the emperors, the gods, Amun-Ra, Sekhmet, Heknut, these gods would have children and mates within their own. This is why I've said this before. Cleopatra was actually a midget who was like deformed and tiny, and she has like genetic deformities here and there. Why? Because her parents are related. Why are parents related? Because it's they want to keep the royal blood pure. It's not so pure. Well, pure in a disgusting fashion. They practiced incest because they kept the royal blood exclusive. They didn't mate amongst the peasants. They mated amongst their own. Now, I'm not saying you to do. I'm not saying you to do the same thing. No, of course not. Okay, you don't need to do that today. But if you're gonna have children, okay, genetics matter. Don't procreate with people who've experienced trauma. Don't procreate with people who come from a low, impoverished economic background, because people who come from economic backgrounds, they come with a lot of negative attributes, traits, and beliefs. They're peasants, in other words. And when I say this, it can be people of any race. There's poor people of any and all races. Look at the whites. You get your middle class folks. You get your upper class folks. You get your middle class folks. You get your lower class folks. I like to call them the Stone Cold Steve Austin trailer park trash. As a person who comes from a middle class, you want to either date within your own, or if you really want to take advantage, you want to aim for someone who comes from an established upper middle class. Not because you're gunning for their money. No, especially as a man, no. You're supposed to be building. But people who are of an upper class echelon, come from an upper class echelon, there are certain beliefs, values, and traditional norms of which they practice that helped them to get up there in the first place. These people don't talk, they don't curse like they don't swear and say things like salty sailors. They tend to talk in a very bourgeois sense because they care about what other people think. Why? Because they have something to lose. Can you imagine Elon Musk going back and forth with Sexy Red? Talking about, F you and F you and... No, Elon Musk would be like, no, I don't have time to argue with. I have a multi-billionaire company to run, like SpaceX or Tesla or Twitter X. Look at Jay-Z. He's a multi-millionaire, he's a billionaire. Remember when that clip of Solange, the younger sister of Beyonce, was like hitting him on the elevator? Jay-Z was like, oh yeah, oh what bitch, let's squabble, yeah, let's go ahead and squabble, yeah, F you up. No, he was like, bitch, get away, hey, security, get off me. And then when they're out, immediately when the elevator doors opened, they were, they were faced with the paparazzi, the public, and they were like, even Beyonce was like walking, strutting like nothing happened. Why? Because the image matters. They have something to lose. Their reputation matters, okay? Because if you have something to lose, you have to care about what your stakeholders think. Therefore, you're going to act accordingly out in public. Yeah, you may have some dysfunctions going on behind the scenes. You may have your arguments, sure, but out and about in public, generally speaking, they're going to carry themselves in an upright, bourgeois sense, in a respectable sense, in a civilized sense. Why? Because stakeholders are watching. And this is what low-class people don't understand. They smoke, they drink, they're downing, beers and alcohol. They curse, they talk any kind of way, they act any kind of way in public. They don't care because they don't have anything to lose. If you're a multimillionaire, you can't afford to be caught drunk, wasted like that, with your legs spread apart. Because guess what? Your sponsors are gonna pull out brand deals. They're no longer gonna associate with you, and that's how you lose everything. So, do you get what? This is the main point today. Genetic memory. You want to procreate with people who come from stable backgrounds because it is in their genetics. People who come from royalty, they're not quick to fight. You know those people. You bump them. Walking across the streets, accidentally bump them, or you step across them. They're like, oh, what the fuck, bro? You wanna fight? Oh, come on, man! No, fuck you up, nigga! Fuck you up, nigga! Low-class peasants, very emotional, very quick to jump the gun. They have this knee-jerk reaction to dysfunction, fighting, swearing, trying to shoot and kill each other. People of royalty, they're not quick to jump the gun. They hardly ever squabble. Hardly ever. And if they do squabble, you know what they do? They play poker. You know the movie Casino Royale? A gentleman's game. High stakes. All decided by, a game of poker. Intellect. Purchasing of businesses. Tech giants. You know what the tech giants do? When they, take each other over. They buy each other's businesses. Mark Zuckerberg bought Instagram. I almost said Facebook. Yeah, then Mark Zuckerberg is Facebook or Meta. Purchased Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, maybe? No. You get it. People of higher value, people of means, people of consequence, they move a certain way, and they definitely do not move a certain way. Procreate with people who come from a healthy background, who've experienced a healthy childhood. Why? Because you're gonna repeat and you're gonna reproduce people who are gonna behave in a healthy sense out in society. Who you procreate with matters because there's something called genetic memory. The things that your forefathers experienced is gonna repossess you or your children or your grandchildren later in some shape or form. People who drink, alcohol, it stays within your bloodstream, and then that person has a child, and then you wonder why that child is like, I have a craving for alcohol. Folks, dysfunction, it continues down generations. You don't wanna cross roads with someone who's carrying dirty, dysfunctional, degeneracy, behaviors and mentalities and spirits. You wanna meet someone who comes from a stable household. Okay, they talk properly, they act properly, they behave properly, they engage in behaviors properly, who are people who are proper. They associate with other people who are proper. I want to say something about Meghan Markle. Do you think Meghan Markle, since she's considered a BW, even though she's biracial, she's more white because her father's white. You take up your father's lineage. But fine. Even though Meghan Markle is a so-called BW, she's only half. Actually, as a matter of fact, like I said, she's more white because her father's white. Do you think Meghan Markle hangs around other BWs who, snapping and, boomquisha, lokisha, shaquisha? Talking about, I don't give a fuck, I do what I want. No. Meghan Markle doesn't act like that. She's far from that. Meghan Markle hangs around Heather, Chloe, Ashley, Madison. Eh? I'm sorry. Hey. I'm not telling you my opinion. It's not my opinion. I'm telling you what is reality. Meghan Markle doesn't act like the typical BW. She doesn't. Her friends. What's this woman's name? Emily Ratajkowski. You know who I'm talking about. Adriana Lima. Kim Kardashian. Larsa Pippen. That's who Meghan Markle hangs around. That's her archetype. She hangs around more respectable, at least from perception, with their behaviors, not the lifestyle. The lifestyle, I mean, yeah, they live they're upper echelons. I mean, they're amongst the elites, okay? So I'm not saying they're perfect because, what we've learned about Hollywood, but you get the idea. I just want to throw that out there. Do you think Meghan Markle hangs around your Michelle Obamas who can't even attend a 1 hour and a half, or let's just say 1 hour, Trump inauguration? Shame on you, Michelle. Shame on you. Okay? But anyway, I just wanted to, again, I'm just painting picture. I'm not telling you my opinion. I'm just painting pictures here so you can understand. But anyway, if you've been watching this far, thank you so much for watching. And remember, the Matrix has you. Follow the white rabbit. And don't fall for the psyops. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.
Away.